All right, homework 7.4 is pretty short and easy. It just is making sure you understand your properties of exponents you need to evaluate kind of weird exponents. So before we get started, a few things you need to know. X to the negative a is 1 over x to the a. If you have a negative exponent, it tells you to divide. X to the 1 over b, if you have a fraction exponent, that tells you it's a root. You do the bth root of x. And the last property you need is that if you have a power to another power, you multiply the exponents. So this is x to the ab. You just multiply a times b. And this is important because if we have something like x to the 1/3 to the 5th, this tells you would just multiply 1/3 times 5. 5 times 1/3 is 5/3. And so what you end up with is when you have a fraction that isn't just a 1 on top, this is the same as the cube root of x. The bottom part, remember, fraction exponents are roots. So the cube root of x is the same as x to the 1/3. To the 5th power is what this 5 is. And you can either write it here or here. Either way is okay. So let's look at how this works with numbers. 5 to the negative 2 power, it's a negative exponent that tells you to divide by 5 squared. So that's 1 over 25. 8 to the 1/3 power, this is a fraction exponent that tells you it's the 3rd root of 8. This says what times what times what gets you 8, which is 2. Something like this at the end, where you've got everything combined. We've got 8 to the negative 5/3 power. Well, that's a negative exponent, so it's 1 over 8 to the 5/3 power. And what 8 to the 5/3 power is that bottom part is a root, so it's the cube root of 8 to the 5th power. Notice I can put the 5 here. It's substantially easier, instead of doing 8 times 8 times 8 times 8 times 8 5 times, and then trying to do the cube root of it, if you do the cube root first, it's a lot easier. So doing the cube root of 8 to the 5th power is pretty easy. This is saying what times what times what gets you 8, and that's 2. The cube root of 8 is 2, and 2 to the 5th power, you just multiply a bunch of 2's together and you get 32. So the answer is 1 over 32. And so you're going to be using this skill to evaluate these powers of 4 and graphing it. And we should already know what this exponential graph looks like. Anything to the 0th power is 1, 4 to the 1st power is 4, 4 to the negative 1 power is 1/4. And we know that there's this nice exponential shape to this curve. Ooh, man, I got kind of ugly there. There's this asymptote as we go to the left, but as you do more powers, you'll be able to get exactly what's going on. Like for instance, the reason I said ooh right here is because my point got a little bit messy here. When x is 1.5, that's the same as 3/2. And so if we're trying to do 4 to the x when x is 3/2, we're doing 4 to the 3/2 power. And so we're going to use that skill we just learned. The 4 to the 3/2 power means the square root of 4 to the 3rd power. The square root of 4 is 2. 2 to the 3rd power is 8. And so when x is 1.5, the y value is 8. And that's why I was remarking about how ugly mine was, because there is an exact point there. I should know where it goes, and it can make my graph go a little bit better if I understand my properties of exponents. So I'll let you finish the rest of this on your own. Have a good day.